Welcome to TMZ Live. Harvey Levin here.
Charles here.
So the Diddy trial starts on Monday, and we know the star witness in this case, absolutely positively, is going to be Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex-girlfriend, who is also, everybody knows, on this horrific tape of her getting beaten by Diddy back in 2016. That tape, not the CNN version, but another version is going to be played to the jury. Well, take a look at Cassie. She is out in New York.
That's her in New York today, and looking. We knew she was pregnant, and we hadn't seen her since really February when they announced that she was pregnant. But she seems pretty far along, and she will be testifying next week, taking the stand. We think that she'll testify next week, but that is going to have some impact, one hell of an impact on the jury.
We have talked about before how appearance makes a difference in cases. How Diddy's appearance, wearing a sweater, having gray hair and glasses and whatnot, you know, that it's all designed for something. Well, optics make a difference in court. And when you think about what this case is about, this is about the defense saying that not only did Diddy lead a swingers lifestyle, but so did Cassie. And that this was all consensual. And that they are saying there is no fraud, coercion, anything like that. When you look at Cassie getting on the stand, the jury is going to have to reconcile that image with the description or the picture that the defense is painting.
Well, and also they're going to hear her side of the story as she looks like that, and she's going to be telling, if she's refuting Diddy's version that that was their lifestyle and that it was all consensual, I would imagine she's going to say some version of, I wanted out and I was just afraid to leave.
Well, by the way, in a way, we already know what Cassie is going to say because she filed a lawsuit.
Right.
And she laid it out in great detail.
Right.
And said that there was fraud and coercion and force in this situation.
And, you know, looking the way she looks,
it makes a big difference.
It's more believable.
And what will be most interesting to me is how they handle cross-examination, right? I mean, the Diddy's defense team does have to paint her as part of a consensual swinger-style relationship with Diddy for a number of years, but reconciling that with her pregnant belly, that fact that she's already a mother to, I believe, 2 other children, and painting her in that negative light is going to be very delicate in front of that jury, and I don't know how you can really pull it off.
And it will be difficult for Diddy's attorney, whoever's doing the cross-examining, to push her. You can't, you know what I mean? Like, you can't go back against her. You can't refute things she's saying and be aggressive with her.
And by the way, what's going to be really important here is that Cassie video, because clearly they're going to play the Cassie video when she's on the stand, and they're going to ask her about that in great detail.
And she is going to tell her version of, we know that Diddy has said all along that it was not about forcing her to stay. This wasn't a freak-off situation. He said that they had an argument about her finding another woman's number on his phone.
Now, if she refutes that, how are they going to challenge her?
Right.
Because that's going to be, optically, a very difficult situation for the defense.
You know, Harvey, I've been thinking a lot about it. I wonder if the defense team will actually just take a pass, let her give her direct testimony and move along pretty quickly because there's other witnesses that they'll be able to be more aggressive with, maybe, who take the stand than Cassie.
If she is the first witness to take the stand, and you tell me just strategy-wise whether this would be a good thing for the prosecutors to do. If she's the first person to take the stand, you're playing from behind if you're Diddy's team, right? Now you're in the hole right away with the jury because let's just Cassie's going to be come out on top in that exchange. Now you're playing from behind. Does it make more sense as the prosecutors to have her go first, a strong leadoff, or do you wait a couple of witnesses and then bring her in?
Well, they've said they are going to call 2 minor witnesses and then another witness. So I'm a little surprised that they're calling 2 minor witnesses first, not underage. They're just talking about people who are not central to the case.
Right.
I don't know who they are. In fact, what I'm told is neither does the defense. They haven't revealed it yet. Now, that may have changed, and I don't know. because at some point they've got to give notice of who is taking the stand. Look, I mean, Cassie is everything in this case, and she sets it up.
So would you start with her if you were?
I thought they would start. I thought they would start with her.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I thought out of the box they would start with Cassie, because she can tell a complete story. Everybody else, in a sense, is additive. Now, there's something else. Speaking of ex-girlfriends, there are 3 ex-girlfriends. One is not cooperating, and the prosecution, it seems, is having great difficulty getting her to come to court to testify.
They have described her. They've said this is victim 3 in the indictment, and she is. We know an ex-girlfriend. Know that she's an ex-girlfriend.
Right.
And there was a whole exchange about her in court this week where they said we're having trouble getting her to come in. That she has some conflict. She's got things going on in her personal life, and it was described by the government as almost like she wants to be here, but we're not sure we're going to be able to get her here. We're talking to her lawyer. And
they didn't say it in those words, but our sources are saying she has been uncooperative from the get-go, and did not want to testify. And I'm just finding this really fascinating, because what are they going to do on Monday when they deliver opening statements? Because an opening statement is when you lay out the case. You're going to hear from so-and-so, and so-and-so, and so-and-so. So the question, are they going to reference this woman if they can't deliver? Because what you don't want to do...
Well, they have to reference her. She's in the indictment as victim 3. Are they just? They can't just ignore one of the victims that they put in the indictment.
They could.
I mean, the defense would tear them apart if they don't.
Well, they could. The defense isn't going to say they didn't mention another alleged victim. So I don't think the defense is going to say that if they don't reference it. But I don't see how they reference it unless they have a lock that she's going to show up. Because if she doesn't show up, it's a problem.
Yeah, and it's a devastating development for the prosecution, because remember, that first indictment they brought just had Cassie. It had victim number 1, and they've sort of cobbled together a case.
They added 2, and
then
they added 1.
Right, and they've added them because they knew they needed to bolster their case beyond Cassie, because he can always say, I was in a long-term relationship with Cassie. They needed more people. And so this is a critical piece of the prosecution's case. To have that witness potentially not show up is a devastating blow for them.
Hi, my name is Maritza. I'm from New York City. I think the defense team has their job cut out for them. Watching Cassie on the stand, tears probably coming out of her eyes, pregnant. It's hard not to see him as a monster, especially after watching that video. I think that the defense team needs to show a lot of footage, maybe pictures of them and happy moments to show that this was like a relationship. She didn't leave because she was in love. That's the only way they can go, because they cannot put pressure on her. She's pregnant. They will look like a monstrous team altogether.
It is going to be, this is going to be
Quite the tap
very
dance.
delicate.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on.